We're talking about communion with the Lord, and specifically we're talking about prayer. And are there any protocols? I mean, I've heard people give different like step-by-step process. Sometimes it's a real clever alliteration. We've heard, people use the Lord's Prayer or something from the Psalms, come into enter his gates with thanksgiving, his courts with praise. Is there something that you use as sort of a step-by-step protocol when you come before the Lord? I do this, and then this, and then this, or is it always just spontaneous?
No, there's always the same thing. It's spontaneous, but at the same time, there's always the same things. For instance, I'll go into the closet, and the disposition of relaxing is very important to me because it testifies to the Lord that there's nothing I can do to affect anything. It is so often might and power that obstruct spirit, but it's not by might, nor is it by power, but by his Spirit. Prayer is the same. All the workings of God are this way. And so I'll go in and I'll sit down and relax, push everything away. I'm not here for any other reason than just to be with you. Many times it is our agenda that blocks our experience of God. And often it's our remembrance of yesterday and our anticipation of tomorrow that block our experience of God today. The scatteredness of the soul locks the gates into the sweetness of the Lord. So all those things have to be addressed. I'll sit down, I'll relax, and make sure that I'm there for that one reason, just to be with him.
And how do you do that? You
Yeah,
talk to yourself?
Yeah, I'll do it right now. I mean, I'll sit down just like this, and I'll just clear my mind by just looking at him. Lord, I give you all my attention. And once I sense that all my attention is there and not scattered, I'll just begin to worship. Lord, I worship you. And I give you praise, Lord. And even now, I sense the sweetness of his peace. And I resign myself to that peace. And just stay there until he leads by inclination of some kind. He'll lead by vision, dream, vision or sight of some kind, spiritual sight. Or the scriptures, he'll lead me into a subject. He'll give me some type of directive where he wants me to go. And if I don't get anything, I don't do anything. I just wait. I'm okay with the nothingness of God. And I had to make that okay because the natural man is not that way.
And when you say nothingness, what do you mean?
Nothing's happening. According to the natural man.
No activity on the outside.
Yeah. According to the naturalness of man, nothing is taking place right now. And it's highly offensive to him.
To the natural
man.
Yeah.
He's highly offended. He's like, you're not doing anything right now. It's Martha. She yells at Mary. Mary never antagonized Martha. Mm-hmm. Martha antagonized Mary. Mm-hmm. She couldn't understand the significance of what she's doing. You're doing nothing right now. I'm doing all this stuff. She's left me to do all this stuff by myself. But the Mary disposition is just gazing and listening. I love what you said one time when we asked you about prayer. You said prayer is much more about me listening to him than him listening to me. Mm-hmm. And Witness Lee said, when you come out of prayer, say not what have I said to God, but what has God said to me. Mm-hmm. And it's wonderful that that's the way it is because it's so easy. So I just sit and rest, listen, wait for a directive. It's that simple. And that's the protocol for me. Relax and worship. Worship meaning the adoration of the soul. I look to you, Jesus.
So relax.
Relax.
Worship.
Worship.
And then is that it?
And resign to his presence.
Just resign.
Because as you're worshiping, his presence will come, I promise. It's just his
and
promise.
Then you just drink.
Then you just drink until there's a directive. And after the directive comes,
What do you mean? What do you mean a directive?
A directive. He'll show you where he wants you to go.
He may lay something on your heart to specifically address?
Yeah, you'll have a desire. Yeah. He leads by delight. So you'll have an incredible desire to look at Psalms or your specific thing that God has put on you to read or whatever it is. Sometimes people have a specific schedule in reading that God has given to them. Like he wants them reading Proverbs every morning. So then you'll know it's time because you'll have a desire to go into the scriptures. Or a directive, heart. I want you to look at the heart. So then you look at the scriptures. I'll read the scriptures about the heart. Or you'll have a vision. I see hay. I see hay right now. So you begin to look up into what hay would represent in the scriptures or whatever. He'll give some type of a directive, and it will be by delight or vision of some kind. Sometimes
hearing.
Or hearing. You'll hear something specifically from the Lord. To me, hearing and seeing are very, very similar because you don't really hear or see regardless. They're perceptions. You'll perceive. Right. May be hearing, may be seeing. You'll have a spiritual perception.
And I think this is important because when you say vision,
a
lot of people immediately think an open vision where something plays out in front of you like a movie.
Right.
That's not necessarily what you mean.
No, I've had that before though. I had one of those in my whole life.
Yeah, but that's
where
That's not usually the way that
Right.
it happens, right?
Right. It came by trance too. That kind of vision came by trance.
Yeah.
I was tranced. I was gone. You know,
Yeah.
it's like Brian Guerin says. It's the Novocaine for God to deliver something to you.
Right.
Your Novocaine.
But that's an unusual
That's
experience.
unusual for me.
Yeah.
You know, there's some people that have it quite
Common.
common because that's their call.
Yeah.
They're seers. Like
Yeah.
Brian Guerin is a seer.
Yeah.
And that's how God speaks to him many times.
But when you're talking about a
Me,
vision
no.
in prayer,
A vision in prayer for me most of the time is a mental sight that came from somewhere else.
yeah,
I didn't conjure, I didn't pull it, it came.
yeah,
You know, Watchman Nee said that there are evil thoughts and thoughts of evil, where thoughts of evil grasp at your mind, evil thoughts you grasp for. And in the same way, visions are like that too. Some people have visions where they're grasping for something, and that's not from the Lord.
Yeah.
You know, visions that grab you.
Yeah.
That's
This is one way that I kind of help people understand. I'll tell them, imagine right now a red and white beach ball.
Yep.
Close your eyes and look at it.
yeah. That's
And
it.
turn it and see it. Just see how the pattern converges and everything. Do you see it? And when they can see it, like clearly, so that's what it looks like
Yeah,
when the Lord shows you something.
yeah, that's great.
Right? I mean, and the reason I like to explain that is because people say, oh, well, that happens to me all the time when I pray.
Right.
Maybe they didn't even know that they were having what you're calling a vision.
Yes.
But the Lord often uses those things to lead and direct, and
Right.
sometimes profound revelation
Yeah.
comes through that, right?
Yeah, let me just throw in a checkpoint here. Something that happened to me, I was seeing constantly and writing it out, and I was getting incredible messages specifically from the Lord directive-wise, like things that I was supposed to do, dates and all that kind of stuff. It got to the point where I started to look for those things. And when I began to look for them, I was having a hard time experiencing the Lord because I was looking so much. I wasn't relaxing. I was looking for something. And because of it, it obstructed my sweet exchange with the Lord. And so finally, when I did break into sweetness, he showed me a vision. And the vision was an eye on top of a pedestal.
Oh, wow.
And as I began to look at it, the Lord spoke to me and said, you have worshipped seeing. Stop it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So nothing can trump the
It's
presence.
coming to him for something other than
Yes,
him.
it's coming to him for something other than him. On the back of my union book, I put, if you come to him for something other than him, you will miss him. You may get the thing that you want, but who wants something other than Jesus?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not just after his hands. You're not just after his hands. We want him, his face. We want to lay our head on his chest and feel that the beating of his heart on our ears. You know what I mean?
Yeah.